You've seen the Apple iPhone 5, now it's time to talk about some of the features in Apple's iOS 6. I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com. Let's take a look at Apple's new operating system. So let's talk about some of the new features in Apple's iOS 6. It obviously rolled out for the 4S, for the 4 and for the 3GS as well in various forms, but it's available now on 5, and it was the first device to actually launch with iOS 6. First of all, I want to point out Passbook. This is a unique application which Apple allows you, and according to this, it says Passbook is the simplest way to get all your passes in one place. So they've partnered with some applications, American Airlines, United, Walgreens, Starbucks, for example, and at some point I hope more will support, or they'll come together and do Passbook as a whole. But so far, boarding passes, I'll show you the App Store, for example, so you can take a look. Oh, let me turn on cellular data here so you can take a look at that. I had that turned off earlier. I was doing some battery tests. So we'll turn on Passbook here. We'll go to the App Store, and we'll just see what it looks like. Apps for Passbook. So American Airlines, Fandango, Live Nation, Lufthansa, MLB, and more, Sephora, etc. You can download and install these. The problem with Passbook is, with the exception of Walgreens so far, I can't find one that just shows me my information. So obviously, I have frequent flyer accounts with American, with United, very much frequent flyer on US Airways, even though they don't have an application. And I can't get those in Passbook to appear unless, especially United or American, for example, unless I have a ticket for that day. That's the biggest challenge I'm running into. I'd love an application where I just open it up and it says American, 60,000 frequent flyer miles, United, 20,000 frequent flyer miles, and it can just show me my status and kind of bring me into the application, just kind of a general information point. So far, it's just for tickets. Hopefully we'll see that expand in the future. I also want to bring over your attention to this new phone application here with revised colors, revised dial buttons over here on the side, and of course you've got favorites, which is important because for the Do Not Disturb feature, and I know I'm kind of jumping around a bit here, but I want to show you this as well. Do Not Disturb is a pretty cool feature where we can go in here and we can schedule a Do Not Disturb time. So let's say from 10 o'clock p.m. to 7 a.m., I don't want my phone to ring, which is, as a journalist, I could never, and as an editor-in-chief, I could never ever use Do Not Disturb. But in the instance that I could use this from 10 to 7, let's say, or set my own time, but I can allow my calls from favorites. So let's say I have all my editors, I have my significant other, I have family and friends that matter in favorites, and then of course incoming calls from them will always ring. But that said, if they're not in that list and they ring, it'll silence it. Now repeated calls, this is pretty cool as well. When enabled, a second call from the same person within 3 minutes will not be silenced. So if somebody calls me twice in a row, it'll automatically, as an emergency, it will automatically ring, and anybody in my life knows not to call me twice in a row unless it's an absolute emergency. And then of course your notification center stuff here as well as some new applications such as Walgreens, things that are Passbook type stuff, and then of course you have Passbook itself in the notifications bar also. So of course that brings me into the notifications bar itself. Take a look at this, and then you've got tap to tweet and tap to post. So integration to Twitter and Facebook within iOS 6. All you have to do is go into the settings and then enable Facebook and enable Twitter down here, and then put in your personal account information, and from there you can automatically post to Facebook, automatically post to Twitter from the actual device itself as opposed to going into the application. Then of course you have settings with maps, and we'll take a look at Apple's maps as well and bring that up, and let me focus on here so we can take a look. Yeah, there we go. I was looking at a couple of different things in Dallas. I'm moving in the next month to Dallas, so I was looking at some stuff there, just mapping out some routes. And of course here's Apple's Maps application. We can clear this out, and then I'll look at this and get the address out, and you can see of course it'll focus in on where I'm at. So I'm in Charlotte right now, and I can pinch to zoom out, and of course that's what Apple's Maps look like. Similar functionality here with the ability to drop pin, print, show traffic, hybrid satellite, and more. And then of course you've got their maps look and feel here with portrait to landscape transitions, but again you can do it via 3D. So if you get close enough into the city, we can go to 3D mode and we can focus in here, and we can do satellite actually. Let's take a look here. Actually we'll do a hybrid. Let's see what that looks like. And let's wait for the checkerboarding to go away, and bam, there we are. Let's see if we can do the hybrid, because I kind of like you to get a better image. There we go, that's a little bit better of Charlotte itself. And of course the buildings will start to pop up. You can see all the different wards, and you can get turn-by-turn navigation there as well. And apparently my Twitter feed is blowing up right now, but that's Maps on Apple. And then of course you have the new FaceTime stuff. You can talk over the cellular connection now. With the exception of AT&T, you have to have their mobile share plan in order to be able to do it over their cellular connection. Verizon and Sprint, you can do it with any plan and access it that way. And of course there are some cool phone applications, so I'll dial this phone number right now. Give me 1 second. Wait a second, let's see here. And of course I'll bring it up here so you can take a look. And we'll let the phone ring. and I'll show you some of the cool features in the actual dialing prompt itself. So we'll bring this up and wait for it to ring. There we go, perfect. And then of course you can see that, and then I've got decline and answer. I can flip it up right here, reply with message, remind me later, so I can reply with a message. Can't talk right now, I'm on my way, what's up?
The person you called has a voicemail box.
And of course, as you can see, that automatically ignores it. So that's a pretty cool feature and allows me to send the text message as well. Other features include VIP functionality in the actual the browser, or in the actual mail client itself. So we'll go in here, for example, and let's see what I've got. Let's go into right there. And then of course I've got VIP, as you can see right there. So we've got a VIP folder for those emails that are most important. And again, other cool things, that's a cool mail functionality. And of course you have your iCloud tabs in Safari as well. We'll scroll up here so you can take a look at that. An offline reading list, those things are kind of unique. Full screen landscape as well. Take websites full screen. Let's see if I can get this one to go full screen. I was doing this earlier. Go back to New York Times and take a look. There we go, I had to click the full screen button to get that to work. There it is right there. And then you can see it kind of appears in transparent mode there in the bottom, and you can access it full screen without the AT&T stuff at the top or the Safari stuff at the bottom. Another feature, Siri's been enhanced, as you can see here. You can say call Brian, launch photos, tell us that you can do messages, calendar, sports. Let's say, how did the Cowboys do?
Okay, sports fans, let's take a look. So far, the Cowboys are in first place in the NFC East.
So as you can see, it brings up sports scores as well, which is a new thing for Siri. And then, of course, camera features as well. Still an 8-megapixel camera, but you get an improvement, most notably in the panorama option, where I can come in here and, of course, turn on grid and HDR. But panorama is pretty unique within itself. So I'm going to move this continuously around my office here so you can take a look. And we'll do a panorama shot. I'm going to keep the arrow on the center line. And let's see. It tells me to slow down when I need to slow down, like it is right now. And then I'm slowly turning. Perfect. And here is a panorama shot of my office, as you can see right here. So like that, and of course I've got my bookcase-ish area / file cabinet and more. And then of course there is little Mittens Baker. But new camera features, find my iPhone, find my friends, all that stuff still included in iOS 6. And that pretty much wraps up the iOS 6 updates, or at least the ones that are over 200 updates, as Apple will always tell you in iOS 6. Quite a few improvements, quite a few changes, but that said, those are the most notable of the updates. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for continuing coverage of iOS 6, Apple's iPhone 5, and more as we dogfight this device, we dogfight platforms, and more. Stay tuned to PhoneDog.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook as well, Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Hit us up. We're always doing cool giveaways. In fact, we're doing one right now, the greatest tech giveaway ever, 2. So be sure to check that out at Facebook.com/PhoneDog. Hit me up on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at Facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks much for watching. Much more coverage to come on iOS 6 and the iPhone 5 on PhoneDog.com.